gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about Tamaya.
Hello. Welcome to the Tamaya Show. Today we're going to be talking about incest, penetration, violence, and silence. Right? What are you talking about there, girl? Well, let's just get into it. So, incest. Okay, that's the huge elephant in the room. And I do feel personally responsible to bring it to national attention and international attention so we can deal with it. It's one of those things that's taboo and people hate to really deal with it. Why? Because it's shameful and embarrassing. For me, it is. I think it's embarrassing, but that's the reason why I want to bring it up and talk about it, right? So what once was the source of immense shame for me, as I'm now set free and I'm able to talk about it openly. Okay. So I want to talk about incest and specifically with me. And I always have to bring this up because people need to know if I don't give you guys the details, how is anybody ever going to learn and anybody going to grow and start the healing process? Remember, you cannot start to heal until you start dealing with the reality until you start addressing the truth. Okay. So the truth is I have participated in incest. Okay. So my dad's sister's son, right? So that's the relationship that puts me in the club, right? I want to talk about a little story that happened with this as well. So for those of you who've been watching, understanding what incest is, this is a very dark tragedy and shouldn't happen at all. But again, it did, and it happened in younger formative years. So a lot of you guys know, go back to a couple episodes. You guys know I'm a member of the LBGTQ. I want to talk about one particular incident that happened in LA off of La Brea and Slauson with this cousin, right? So me and my cousin, we moved on past it. I moved on. He attended my wedding. We just moved on. We charged it to some type of childhood thing. Never had a real conversation. Hey, sorry about that. I was weird as hell when I was young. Nobody said anything. We just moved on. And that worked well for me because I compartmentalize. So I prefer to just move on anyway. You don't say anything. I don't say anything and we move on. Okay. But one particular day, he's like, yeah, so I was in LA and I brought my homegirl with me. My homegirl, she was my friend. We're traveling around LA. We went to the African American Film Festival. And after that, my cousin said, oh, you guys are in town. You want to stop by and, we can smoke. We can have a shot and chill. And I thought to myself, okay, cool. This is my cousin. I'll stop by. I'll come have a smoke, shoot the breeze for about an hour or two before we head back to the Inland Empire. Right. So I go over to his place off of, again, Slauson and Angeles Vista, close to that area. And he invites me over. He has some of his roommates there. So it's about 5 of us total. Well, actually, let's say 7 total. Me, her, and 5 guys, right? So we're drinking, we're smoking. I will say, now these guys are like chain smokers. Yeah, okay, I'll take a puff here and there, but I'm not going to just be sitting for hours and hours and hours. Well, because he had a shot and a couple shots and because he smoked, I don't know, maybe he had reached a level of delirium. I'm not sure what happened, but he's sitting there. All right. And out of nowhere, he looks up at me and he's like, I'm so sorry for everything. I was suicidal about what happened. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? My friend's sitting right here. And A, and B, you and I have never even talked about this, but we certainly have never talked about this in front of anybody. So for me, I immediately am like, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, because I'm not sure. You okay? Right? Maybe you need to slow down on the puff. Maybe we need to, set the beers down. Not sure what you're talking about. Okay. So my friend looks, she moves on. She tries to look away and ignore the whole situation. The crazy part about that situation was I had already told her about what happened. We were real friends. So she already knew. So it was double weird because it was like, wow, this is a real admission. And he was essentially, I guess that may have been his way of apologizing or addressing it, but I totally ignored it, canceled it out. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hey, you have a good night. Within 10 minutes of that comment, I'm like, all right, cousin, getting ready to catch you later, headed back home. And that's how I handled that. For me, again, it was a source of embarrassment and it's a source of shame. So why would I want to talk about it openly? Very hard to do that. And I'm still shaking in my boots right now to just mention it. So you got to go slow because progress is a slow process, right? So you have to go slow with talking about it. You have to go slow with accepting it and slow with it, realizing the adverse effects that it's had on you in your entire life, right? From the forming of toxic relationships to mental health problems, it has set you back. And I had to realize, wow, this has really destroyed a big part of who I am, but not anymore because I'm accepting it and I'm acknowledging it and I'm no longer a slave and or a prisoner to those types of thoughts. But I wanted to address it because Incest is one of those things people never want to acknowledge, brother, uncle, cousin, mommy, daddy did this. But people are human and things do happen. And it was an error and it was unacceptable. But if you're still here to talk about it, you did survive it. And hopefully you can move on in your healing. Right. So I just want to make sure I'm touching on that for some people because it's very, very difficult to talk about, but keep talking about it anyway. All right. So number 2, violence. Okay. So again, these characters, they were also violent. So there's a lot of punching, there's hitting, there's fighting, right? To the knock the tooth out level. So we talk about real fights. Okay. And then also harming my little sister. That's a special caveat, which I will put in torture because now I have to see people suffer. That just doesn't cook up right in your mind. You start to become sadistic, start watching Jeffrey Dahmer documentaries and North Korea documentaries, and the end of the night, it turns dark, right? When people practice violence against you. So again, we have to deal with that for the mental health and the mental healing. It was wrong. It was unacceptable. But if you never get to the point where you can say to yourself, they hit me, they hurt me, that sucks, and I cried, or whatever it made you do to realize you were vulnerable and you were weak and that's okay, you got to tell yourself because you got to be real. We can't spend our life pretending to be the toughest people on the planet. It was hard. It was hurtful. It was shameful, but we got through it. Okay. Penetration. Now everybody knows now that's the real elephant in the room. Lord, take us now. Penetration. Okay. So again, I really have to touch on this one because I deal with this with men. I deal with this with women. This is a big one I have to talk about. A lot of people want to say, Uncle Ray Ray made me perform fellatio, but never want to say Uncle Ray Ray or cousin or brother penetrated me. If a person was monster enough to have you perform fellatio, do you believe I don't believe they were a monster enough to penetrate you? If they're evil and they're wicked, if their hearts are wicked, they were wicked enough to take it there. And if you were penetrated, that's what we're dealing with. So we can't have everybody's mom and dad running around here. Oh, I can't believe this done happened to me. Drinking and smoking their life away, not raising the kids, jumping in broken relationship to broken relationship, forming toxic and trauma-filled homes because you won't deal with the fact that you were penetrated. Okay, it's the highest level of deception ever, right? And for those of us who have been penetrated in the home, it's tragic. But, okay, you can recover if you can tell yourself, yes, I was penetrated. Yes, it was unacceptable. Yes, it was by a man, but I forgive him, I forgive them, and I forgive myself for not saying something. Okay. You have to forgive yourself. And that's the number one person you have to forgive because you should have said something to defend yourself, to stand up for yourself and defend your own honor. What about my own honor? Sitting here protecting them. What about protecting me? So with that being said, with the incest, with the penetration, and with the violence, I went silent, completely silent, not saying a word, literally shut down on the brink of death, thinking about taking myself off the planet. I went silent, couldn't move, no joy zone, not a smirk, no cackling, nothing, couldn't do anything. And that was a true result of the depression I fell into with all of these things breaking down in my life and realizing what has happened and what happened to the nice young Christian woman I once knew. My character has totally changed, and now a once seemingly nice girl is now wicked, filled with evil thoughts. Okay. And that is as a consequence. So what happens is I was an extrovert. It pushed me into being an introvert, shut down. I don't have nothing, no personality. And that was just to cope, literally to get my mind back, to keep from murderous thoughts, from harming people and from harming myself. To cope with it, I just shut down. Nothing. Not so. I remember basketball game 2002. Everybody go back to that shot. Remember Robert Horry hit that shot, boom, and he caught the ball and he hit that 3. I'll never forget it. It was me and my family. We were all downstairs and we were watching that game. And who on the planet who's a true Laker fan wasn't happy then when Robert Horry hit that thought? Well, when he hit that shot. Well, here we are. We're sitting there and Robert Horry hits the shot and I'm just sitting there. Stone cold blank face. No reaction. And that was the first day they realized, uh-oh, she's broken. Something's wrong. She's not smiling at all. Because when people are silent, you're blending in. Oh, okay. We're all just being quiet. No. I'm done. There's no more energy. There's no more hope. There's no more love. I'm shut down. And so that was a consequence of the incest, the penetration, and the violence. Now it's total silence. So violence, silence, penetration. Those are some of the things that we really got to spend some more time on and talking about it and being open and comfortable with it. Okay. These are not things that should just be talked about on special occasions, right? You need to be talking about them actively. And that's what community is for. So we can build support groups to say, hey, you know what, that happened, but I'm fine. I'm dealing with it, right? It takes more than just therapy. It's more than just prayer. It's more than just good friends. You have to do the work. Right. So the work is self-talk. The work is putting down the bottle. The work is putting down the blunt. The work is letting go to the sneaky link, letting go to sneaky links. That's the work, to say, instead of, pulling up another blunt or another drink, let me just sit here in this pain. Let me just sit here in this sadness. And let me just really focus on the fact that I made it. So if I don't run another day, if I don't deal with it, if nothing gets better from today, I made it and you made it. Right. So mental health and mental wellness is a journey, and it's going to take the rest of your life. It took you 40 years to break it. It's going to take another 40 to heal it. So I want to talk about these topics, and I want to remind you, especially my men. I love my women, but specifically my men. It is not over for you just because something happened. You can recover, and you are a survivor. Thank you. Hi, thank you for tuning into the Tamaya Show channel. What our channel is about is, and mainly we are in support of silent survivors, people who have experienced trauma and or abuse of any form and did not get any help. Okay, so for all of you out there who are watching the show, who are tuning in, who have experienced this or know someone who's experienced it, what we want to do is provide a small community of people to bring awareness and to advocate for those who are underserved, who will never reach out and get any help. Our goal is to help you find healing, to find love, and to find peace in this world without having to cope your way through life. So thank you so much for continuing to watch, and we want to continue to give you a great season. Thank you.
We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk. Tamaya gon' talk about it. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk about it. Tamaya. We gon' talk.